If you're tearing down statues, I have a couple of additional suggestions.
Who's he?
Honestly, I don't know how I feel about removing statues of races from the past. Part of me sees each side. Being reminded of people from our past who think you're less than human, who fought to keep you enslaved, regardless of what other reasons they were there. Well, it's not fair to not want that feeling. But I also worry about the idea that removing things from history removes the closeness of history. And maybe we need things from the past to be close to us, even when they're uncomfortable. But I would ask that if you think it's a good idea to remove statues of races from the past, that you give me a listen for a moment. I think two of the worst offenders aren't even being considered, and I think this is political. The first one of these is Margaret Sanger. Depending on your politics, you can find all sorts of conflicting information about the founder of Planned Parenthood, but this seems to be clear. She supported eugenics, which is an effort to arrange human reproduction so that desirable babies are had and undesirable babies are not. So she supported mandatory sterilization of those with special needs, who she called morons, mental defectives, and epileptics, in order to make the world better. Well, at least that's what she called the first step. A second group she targeted, she called the unemployables. These were, according to her, prostitutes, addicts, criminals, and uneducated people. And she talked about forced sterilization, segregation, and camps to place them in. She justified doing this, even by force, because she was defending the unborn against their own disability. She said this was health care, not punishment. Who else did this? Oh yeah, Hitler. But his was forced. Oh wait, hers was too. Except she's seen as a hero today. Recipients of the Margaret Sanger Award are people like Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton. In fact, there's a bust of Sanger in the Smithsonian that a group of black pastors are trying to get removed. But the Smithsonian won't budge. Listen to this quote by Sanger. Eugenics is suggested by the most diverse minds as the most adequate and thorough avenue in the solution of racial, political, and social problems. Racial problems, she said. But race is tricky with her because conservatives read things one way and liberals another. But when she's pushing these ideas at a Women of the KKK meeting, you kind of wonder if it really should be that hard. And I don't want to make this about abortion because I think we should just look at her, but black babies are aborted at 5 times the rate of white babies. And I think it's hard not to point to the same lenses of systemic racism here. Jesse Jackson in 1977, because we're looking at everybody's old tweets and old sayings, said that abortion was black genocide, and he compared it to slavery. But again, this isn't about abortion. It's about celebrating Margaret Sanger with a statue, a bust, in the Smithsonian. Second is Charles Darwin. Now, before you react here, I'm a Christian, and Darwin, while probably not a Christian, was a theist, meaning that he believed in God as a first cause. So this isn't really about my views on creation or his on evolution, but it kind of is. Darwin was convinced, as most people read him, that evolution was progressive and that the white races, especially the Europeans, were evolutionarily more advanced than others. In doing this, he established race differences and a racial hierarchy. And I gotta be honest, white supremacists have used this for years, and some have gone so far as to call him the father of modern racism. So, and you'll see in a moment, while Darwin wasn't a horrible offender and racist specifically, he certainly gave a lot of fuel to many horrible offenders over the year. And on the other hand, though, his defenders will say that he held views that were normal in his time and that he actually hated slavery, which does seem to be true. But should that get him off the hook? It's hard to judge the people of history, though, isn't it? And in cancel culture, where we can feel confident after we cancel opinions and people we don't like, we can't undo history. I wonder if we're going to protect some characters from history and not others. Well, maybe we should be more honest than that. Some of this is very real, removing the feelings of fear and injustice from those in our society that we love. And some of this is just politics. Because if you remove Washington and not Sanger, well, I'd suggest that we just look a little deeper. What do you think? Am I missing something? I'm not trying to be abrasive, but I like to think we can talk about hard issues without making enemies. But I'm probably wrong. And you should subscribe to my YouTube channel.